Hi, my name is Graham Potter, and in the workshop today we've bought this lovely Caledonian pine. Caledonian is a variety of Scots pine that's native to Scotland and northern England, and it's particularly attractive for bonsai. It's very vigorous, it's very strong, and it has very small foliage. The root system is fantastic, and it's one of my favourite types of Scots pines. This tree was collected in the north of Scotland about 7 or 8 years ago, and since that time it's kind of sadly been pushed from pillar to post. It's gone through several hands. Most of those didn't really do the tree much good, and so it came into my possession about 2 years ago, and at that point I basically just decided to leave it alone. While it looks on the face of it a very simple tree to style as bonsai, it's actually quite a challenge, and certainly I know a lot of people have considered removing the larger trunk, keeping the smaller one because it has more interest, and lots of other things. So over the last couple of years, the vigour and the strength of this tree has returned, and as you can see, he's now nice and compact, nice and balanced. The foliage is nice and small. He's backbudding profusely. The soil is good, the root system is good, so everything is in place to actually begin to do something with this tree. And as I said, it's a simple tree. It's not complicated. We don't have to be clever with this tree, and on the face of it, it does look very straightforward, but in actual fact, combining the two trunks into a coherent design is going to be a little bit of a challenge. So really the work today is to actually wire this tree. We'll be wiring right out to the ends of the green, and then actually building the foliage pads from what we have here. As I said, the challenge is really to make the two trunks into one coherent tree. Challenges of working with this type of material is that over the years the previous owners have tried all sorts of different things to create interesting bonsai from this material, and often that leaves problems that we have to try and work around. For instance, at this point here you can see that somebody's tried to split this upper trunk and actually cut 3/4 of the way through it to try and reposition it. Obviously that wasn't very successful, because as far as we can tell it's still exactly where it was before they started. But this has given us some real problems, various other areas on the tree, and things that we just can't change that perhaps we would have liked to have done. And so here we're going to be working with the basic trunk lines and branch lines that have been previously set, and just trying to really compact the tree and make something much more attractive from it. In order to create a refined image on material like this, it's important that we wire the entire tree. Wiring is a very simple process of basically just wrapping a suitable gauge of wire around the branches that we want to bend and shape, and it's important that the wire is of thick enough caliper to actually hold the branch in place. And here you can see we've removed all the excess foliage and just left the small, young and healthy foliage on the tips, and then at about a 45-degree coil space, and we just run this wire along the branch. At the end, just as we reach the foliage, it's important to double the wire back on itself in kind of a loop arrangement. That enables us, once we've placed the branch, to actually turn the foliage up towards the light. So you can see here, we just fold that wire back, remove the tip, and that's done. And you can see if I bend that, it stays put, stays in position perfectly. At this stage we've now completed all the wiring, and it's important to point out that if you want to style a tree at this stage and have it very refined at the end of the day, it's important to make sure that the wiring is done correctly. The coil spacing is good, the wire's not too thick, not too thin, and that you've actually wired right the way up to the end of the green shoots. Before we actually begin to place the branches on this tree, I need to do some work on the trunk here. And one of the things I've decided to do to improve this part of the tree is here. We need a small amount of shari to accentuate a little bit of movement here. And also at this point there's been a large branch removed in the past, and as you can see it's created a thickness which is not particularly attractive, so we need to open some of this up and also possibly remove some of the thick bark to improve the taper at this point. One of the challenges of actually designing this tree is how to incorporate this U shape in the trunks, and a simple way to do that to achieve that in this situation, and usually something you would do with material like this, is place a branch in the back. That helps to give us some real perspective in the tree and some real depth, but at the same time it frames this back branch using the trunks, and that actually helps tie the two parts of the tree together. So here we are with the finished tree, and I think you'll agree it's a considerable improvement on what we started with. Several things that I'd just like to point out on this tree that we've had to do to really pull this design together. And one is the fact that this trunk here has some excellent movement. This one is relatively straight. So what was happening as you viewed this tree, your eye was going off up the small trunk, so the larger one always looked kind of subject to surplus to requirements. So by carving this small amount of shari, what that's done is created more interest in this trunk here, and that's actually helped to draw your eye into the higher trunk and then round into the smaller one. Just small details like that can make a significant difference in the design of a tree. Obviously this scar here has been improved to some degree, and one of the things that we've managed to do is show this elbow here is reflected in this elbow here, and then we have another elbow here which reflects from this one here. And this concept of reflection in bonsai is very important, especially in a twin trunk tree where you can tie similar looking features together to make an interesting overall design. So I think that from something that's certainly, as I said at the beginning, been a controversial tree, and one that's been changed and manipulated in several ways, and people have by and large not decided to keep this tree because of those problems, I'd like to think in this design we've incorporated those to make an interesting tree. So hopefully this demonstration has been informative, and thanks for watching.